Hey everybody, welcome back to Real Good Pilates. I'm Michelle, and today I have something very exciting for you. It is our first ever jump board workout, so I cannot wait for you to try it with me. So all you need is to have your jump board attached securely onto your reformer. Make sure that you've tightened it and gotten it all nice and situated. It shouldn't be wobbling around. It should feel nice and secure. All right. I also have one of these, a little sticky mat. You could also use a towel or something. It's totally optional. I'm just going to have it close so that I can wrap it around the top of my jump board and make it more comfortable to grip. Yours might be different than mine, so you just decide if you want that extra cushion or not. And then we're going to start. I have my straps off of my machine on the floor so that when I start jumping, they don't get tangled up. And then I'm going to start with 2 reds and 1 blue spring on for some leg and footwork. You could do a little heavier or a little lighter, depending on what you like. So let's come on to our backs. We're going to start just taking a couple deep breaths together to kind of get centered. So just kind of rest your feet up on the top of your jump board. So you don't have to hold them up. I'm kind of resting mine on this little ledge. And then just take your hands right onto the sides of your rib cage. Put a little bit of pressure in with the heels of your hands. And then just take a nice full inhale in through your nose and then out through your mouth. Inhale and then exhale. Good. So as you're breathing, really feel that nice wide expansion through the ribs into the hands, and then feel them gently fall in and down. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Feel the backs of your ribs staying heavy onto the carriage. Good. One last time. Breathing out through pursed lips to get that nice deep abdominal connection. Very good. Now take your hands down towards your hips and we're going to rock our pelvis forward and back a couple of times. So just tuck and tilt your pelvis, kind of rolling in and out of your imprint and your neutral spine. Eventually, once we start jumping today, you can decide whether you feel more secure jumping in imprint, so where our low back is closer to the mat and we're slightly tucked, or in a more neutral, where your pelvis is more level and you have a slight curve under your back. You can decide, okay, when the springs are lighter and our abs are more the focus, you may feel better being in a slight imprint, but either option is available to you, okay? So just kind of feeling out those 2 places. All right, now let's end up in our neutral. So your tailbone is heavy. You could slide your fingertips under a small little gap beneath your lower back. And then we're going to place our arms down by our sides. Slide your feet down onto your jump board. Be in a V, so your heels are together and your toes are apart. The lower down you set your feet up, the more stretchy this is going to feel on the backs of your ankles. So you kind of decide how high or how low you'd like to be. So we're going to take a breath in here to prepare. Knees are about shoulder width apart. And then as you exhale, you're just going to extend the knees, push out to your long legs, and then come back down. Exhale to push. Inhale to return. Very good. So making sure those legs get to their full extension. And I'm doing my best to keep my heels down in contact with the jump board the whole time. So this feels a little different than when we just have our feet on the foot bar. We get this nice full contact with the foot, and we get to have the whole surface of the foot touching something, which is kind of cool. So kind of notice where your weight is spread out. Yeah, feel that nice lengthening of your Achilles as you bend the knees and return to the bottom. Very good. Couple more times. So we're exhaling as we push out. The inner thighs find each other. And then we make that diamond shape between the knees to bend back in. Good. Let's do this 3 more times. Try to have the same amount of time to go up as it takes you to come down. 2, Now last one, pause way down at the bottom. Make sure your heels can stay touching the jump board, and then take some small little short range pulses here, back and forth, and just smoothly breathe in and out. Yes, if your heels come up a little bit, it's all right, but the intention of trying to keep them down should give you a nice stretch through the back of your ankle for 3, 2, 1, and then push all the way out to straight one last time, and then go ahead and bring yourself to the bottom. Very good. Now let's turn to parallel, so you're sitting bone distance apart, heels further down for more ankle stretch. Inhale to get ready, check your back in your neutral pelvis, and then we're going to exhale to push out, and then return. Good. So keep all 10 of your toes resting against the jump board at all times. So that way we're not overly tensing up in the front of the shins or the tops of the feet. Very good. So coming back to that breath pattern that we were warming up. So we exhale out through the mouth and inhale through the nose. That's really going to help us in our workout, especially when we start jumping and we need tons of recruitment of our abdominals. That breath pattern is really going to come in handy. So warming it up here. Now let's push out to straight and stay there and just do a couple of heel raises. Lift and lower. And your carriage should move back and forth just a little bit. Yeah, just waking up the feet, the ankles, the calves. Good. If you want more range of motion, you can walk your feet down a little bit lower and you'll get more movement through the ankle joints. Good. Gently pressing the hands into the mat. Feel the width across your collarbones. All right, now we're going to go into a little pattern here. So I want you to lift your heels up and stay. Keep your heels high and slowly bend your knees to return the carriage. Once you reach the bottom, drop the heels to the jump board and then push back out. And we do that again. Lift the heels, bend the knees, lower the heels at the bottom, and then push all the way out. Yeah, so we lift to bend, we lower the heels to push away. Yes, feel really connected to the backs of your legs here. So as you shift between heels up and heels down, you want to keep those glutes firing so that we're not just relaxing or settling. Good. Let's do this a couple more times. Make sure you're getting a nice alignment of the hips, the knees, and the ankles. Yeah, a lot of times when we lift the heels up, we tend to kind of roll all the weight out to our pinky toes. So make sure you're keeping that even. All right, now push out and pause. Heels are down, legs are straight, and we're going to reverse this pattern. So keep the heels down and bend the knees. Once you reach the bottom, lift the heels high, and then push out to straight and lower the heels. So we bend, we lift, we push, and then lower. Good. Make sure you're not lifting up to such a high position of the heel that you can't also get the knees fully straight. So think like a medium raise of the heel. That's going to serve you the best. So good. Let's do this a couple more times. You can kind of smooth this out. So there's no edges, no stops, but it's nice and fluid. All right, now let's lift the heels up, push out to straight and hold. Now we're going to go into some pulses here. So bring the carriage in halfway with your heels high and start some small little short range pulses, keeping the heels elevated. Good. Emphasize the dropping down of the carriage towards the jump board. Good. And take those big full breaths here. All right, now we're going to get a little tricky. You might have to slow your pulse down a little bit. When you pulse down, lower your heels. When you pulse up, lift the heels. Down, up, down, up. Good. So now we're getting into those deeper layers of the calf muscles, really challenging the quads here. Let's do 5 more. 4, 3, 2, now pause with the heels up and straighten the legs all the way out one last time. And then you can lower the heels, bend the knees, and return. Whew. Good. Our legs are going to be nice and warm for all our jumps. All right, now last position for our footwork. Let's go into internal rotation. So take the heels slightly wider than your sitting bones. Turn your knees and toes in to a pigeon toe and knock your knees together. If this doesn't feel good for you, you can repeat parallel instead. Inhale here, feel that connection and squeeze between the knees, and then you're going to straighten your legs. Your knees will end up separating, and then you'll come back to the start position. Exhale out, inhale, return. Very nice, good. So feel those quads pulling up on the kneecaps to get that full lengthening through the knee joint. Good. And if this feels a little weird, you're not the only one. We don't work in this position all that often, but it's really good to kind of balance out the strength of these muscles around the hip socket. So good. All right, let's do 4 more, getting way down low to the bottom of your range. 3, 2. All right, now last one, come down to the bottom and stay. My knees are touching, and take another set of pulses here. Keep it in a short enough range that your knees don't have to separate from one another. And then just smoothly breathe in and out. 6, 5, squeezing through the glutes. 3, 2, and then push all the way out. Lengthen through those knees one last time. And then come all the way to the bottom. Ooh, all right. Okay, kind of drop your knees from side to side. Bring your feet back up so that they can rest somewhere at the top of the jump board, kind of like we did during our warm-up. Have your legs all the way together, and then hopefully you can kind of just let the jump board support your feet so the hip flexors don't have to work overly hard, but you can find a nice inner thigh connection. Have a little bit of breathing room between your shoulders and your shoulder rests. Place the arms down on the mat next to you, and we're going to get our abs nice and warmed up before we start jumping. So spine is still neutral. Inhale, nod your chin towards your chest. Exhale, you're going to flex your spine and come up into a curl. The shoulder blades are wide. The fingertips reach towards the jump board. Now hold here and stay. Take a big full breath in. And then as you exhale, you're going to melt the spine back down and let the head find the machine. Good. Do that again. Inhale, nod the chin. Exhale, keep your low back curved. Keep this movement coming from just the upper spine. Inhale, stay. Exhale to release fully back down. Good. Couple more times. So your lowest rib stays down. So we're finding a deep thoracic flexion. And then we return. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. If you need to place a hand behind the head to support the neck, that is absolutely fine. Good. Feel those inner thighs connected. Now curl up to the top and hold. Take a breath in, and we're going to pump the hands for a set of 100. So we're breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pulse, good, like you've got little springs under your palms. Good, pushing down, 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 down. Now you could absolutely place the head down and still get a lot of good core work here just by stabilizing against the movement of the arms. One hand behind the head is a great choice, or power through with the 2. We're almost done. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Feel that strong stability through your core. Squeeze the knees tight together. Last time. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Now pause the arms. Curl up a little bit higher, and then release your body down towards the mat. Whew. Okay. Next, we're going to curl back up. So nod the chin, get up into that flex of the spine, place your left hand behind your head, and then we're going to go into a side bend. So fold your body to the right, like your right fingertips are trying to touch the jump board, and then come back to the middle. So I laterally flex, side bend, and then return. So my right side of my ribs is trying to get closer to my right hip. That's it. And I'm kind of gliding that arm down and away, but the knees are staying centered. It's like a side crunch for 4, For 3, you have to be flexed up high enough to kind of clear the shoulder rest. 2, and then come back to the middle, flex up a little higher, and then lay everything back to the bottom. Whew. Okay, let's do that on the other side. So we curl up. Place the right hand behind the head, and then as we exhale, we side bend and return center. Yes, the hardest part is to not let the legs move side to side with us. So keep the legs anchored. Good. It's not going to be a huge movement. You'll just get a little bit of motion side to side through the spine. Good. Let's do 4 more. Feel those obliques working. 3. Good. Chin back. 2. Last one. Come to the middle, curl up a little higher, and then release yourself down to the mat. Whew. Very good, you guys. All right, roll to your side and come up, and we are going to start jumping. Let's decrease our springs a little bit as we start jumping. So take it down to 2 springs. I'm going to do a red and a blue. If you want a little bit heavier, you could do 2 full red springs. Okay, and then we're going to come down onto our backs. Have your headrest notched up slightly so we have that little bit of support for our neck. And then we are going to come all the way down onto our backs. So reach your feet and just kind of dangle them over your jump board. Rest your calves on the top edge and just roll your ankles around here for a minute. Kind of wake up the feet. Yes, so if you ever need a break, if your legs are on fire and you need to rest, this is a great place to come to. Yeah, just reach the feet over top, let the jump board support you, take a couple breaths, stretch out your ankles, and then you can always hop right back in and continue. Okay, so now let's bring our feet down to the jump board. We're going to bring our legs all the way together. So my ankles and my knees are touching. We want to always be jumping and landing near the upper half of our jump board. We never want to be landing all the way down here. It's not a very secure place to be, and we'll kind of send our pelvis and our lower body out of whack. So think upper half of the jump board, legs are tight together, and then I'm going to go for a neutral spine. If imprint feels more secure for you, you can be there instead. So let's inhale to get ready. On your exhale, you're just going to start with some small jumps. So kind of feel out the springs. Get your legs fully straight in the air. And then really focus on the articulation of our feet and our ankles. Okay, the harder you jump with your legs, the more air time you're going to have. So everybody might be landing at different speeds. That's okay. If your springs are heavier, you're going to get pulled into the bottom a lot faster. If your springs are lighter, you'll be out at the top for longer. So good. Let's do 4 more. Roll down, toe ball heel, take off heel ball toe, 2. And then last one, come all the way to the bottom. Whew. Very good. Okay, next, just separate your legs to hip width apart, still in parallel, and we'll jump from here. So exhale to jump, inhale to catch. Yes, and thinking about all that good alignment that we found in our footwork, yes, and finding that every time we land. So I've got equal weight on my big toe, my pinky toe joint, and my heel, and all 10 toes find the jump board. For 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Whew. Okay, let's go externally rotated now. So make a V with your heels together on center, toes slightly turned out to 45 degrees. When in doubt, a smaller V is better. So make sure you're not splaying your knees and your toes too wide. All right, start with your heel as close to the jump board as you can get it. And then we exhale to take off. Inhale, land. Yeah, really important to land with as much of your heel getting to the jump board as possible. That way we get a stretch and kind of a reset for that Achilles tendon. We don't want to keep it tight all throughout. We want to let it lengthen on the landing. 3, 2, 1, and then come in and relax. Whew. Okay, feeling it already. All right, let's go parallel, hip width apart, and lift your right leg up to tabletop. And we're gonna try some single leg jumps. So now it's gonna feel twice as heavy since we've removed one foot. So here we go. Exhale, jump and land. Jump and land. Try to land in the same spot every single time. Good. You want a slight upward angle with the jumping leg in the air. If it drops too low, you might start feeling this in your back. So have a little lift of the foot. 3, 2, 1, and then come down and switch. Okay, left leg up. Inhale, get ready. Exhale, we go. That's it. So as you jump, you should be able to maintain your spinal position. If you can't, be more imprinted, and that will help you. What we don't want is to feel like our ribs pop off of the mat when we're in the air. So feel like if you had a corset on, it would get tighter when you jump, just a little bit to support you. 2, 1, and then come on down. Whew. Okay, next we're going to do a little pattern. So we're going to do one of each of all of those positions that we just did. So we're going to jump once, parallel, legs touching, jump once, parallel, hip width apart, jump into your V, and then we go from one foot single leg to the other foot single leg. You can do whichever foot you like first, and we're going to keep rolling through that pattern, okay? And if you get off, it's all good. Just keep jumping and join me back in when you can, all right? So if you mess up, it's okay. As long as you're jumping, you're doing it great, okay? So start with your feet together. Let's do one jump out and in, landing here, and then we'll go into our pattern. Here we go. So let's take our jump and land back here, legs, ankles, and knees touching. Ready, go. Jump and land. Now open to hip width apart to land. Jump and land in your V. Now jump to one foot parallel, other foot parallel. And then again, together, apart, V, and then one foot, other foot. Very good. In, apart, externally rotate, and then one foot, one foot. So good. Together, apart. This is the tricky part, to turn out, and then back to parallel. 1, 2. Couple more sets. In, out, V, and then single leg, single leg. Let's do 2 more rounds. Whew, that's some good endurance. V, 1, 2. Last set. Together, apart, turn out, one leg, one leg. Whew. All right, come in and relax. So good. All right, bring your knees to your chest. Stretch it out from side to side. All right, roll over to your side and come up. Oh, those jumps are no joke. That is tons of leg work. Good. All right, let's give our legs a little break. Let's work on our upper body, and then we will come back to our jumping. So get your straps onto your shoulder rests so that they are reachable. And then we are going to go into some chest expansion. So I'm going to do this on a single red. You can decide what you would like to be on. And then we're going to do this on our knees. If that doesn't work for you, do this seated or maybe sitting up on your reformer box. So if you're doing this kneeling, you're going to bring your knees right up against the shoulder blocks. Grab your straps. You can hold either the loops. That'll be a little bit less weight and range of motion. If you want more, hold up higher onto the ropes. So kind of pick where you'd like to be. You're going to squeeze your glutes and come up tall, keeping a slight crease at the front of your hips. With your hands balled up in those fists, open your chest wide and then move very slowly. You're going to pull your arms back behind your body and then in equal tempo, reach them back forward. So we breathe out as you pull and then return and inhale. Good. And think more of wide across the chest and the shoulders rather than jamming the shoulders to the floor. Yeah, that's going to cause unnecessary tension and kind of restrict our movement a little bit. So think of opening, almost like your collarbone could grow out the tips of your shoulders and get longer, which sounds kind of creepy, but it works if you think about it. Pull and then return. Really push the tops of the feet down so you feel secure here. Let's do 3 more. Good. Last 2. Feel that abdominal connection. Get taller as you pull back. 1. And then release the arms front. Very good. All right, now we're going to add a little bit of coordination here. So pull the arms back and stay. Keep the arms there and turn and look over one shoulder. Look over the opposite shoulder. Look back to the front and then return the arms. Whew, I was shaking on that one. Let's do that again. Exhale, full range, pull back and hold. Inhale, look side to side. Exhale as you look back front, and then inhale, release the arms forward. Good. We pull and stay. Now try to release tension and get the biggest turn of the head that you can. Return to the front and release the arms. Let's do that a couple more times. Pull and hold. Look side, side, front, and then release. See if we can do this 2 more times. I know it's difficult. Pull and stay. Look, look, front, and return. 1 more time. Feel nice and active through the glutes. Pull, chin to shoulder, look front, and then return. So nice. Okay, shake it out. Now we're going to do some pulses. So inhale to get ready. Exhale, you're going to pull the arms as far back as you can. Now release them forward just till the arms are by your sides, and do 3 little mini pulses. Back, 2, 1, and then return the arms all the way front. And then we'll do that again. Exhale, you pull back. Inhale, release, and then exhale, pulse. Inhale, return all the way front. A couple more times. See if each pulse can take your arms back a little bit further. Push, go a little further. 2, go the furthest you can. 1, and then release. See if we can do 2 more sets. Exhale, pull. Inhale, release, and then pulse, 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 and return front. Last time. So good, you guys. Pull, release, pulse. 3, 2, 1, and then take a break. Sit back on the heels. Gonna reach the arms forward. Stretch out the back of the shoulders. Good. Now, if this is comfortable, you can stay sitting on your heels. If it's not, you can hover up slightly. Hold the elbows back behind the ribs and take some tricep kickbacks. So the elbows stay behind you, the upper arm is stable, and then we just swing the fists back and forth. That's it. So that shoulder joint is stable, and the lower arm we move. So good. Last 4. Shoulders down. 3. Long neck. 2. And last 1. Good job, you guys. That was a lot. Okay, now you can place your straps back onto the floor. We are going to do a quick little elephant series, and then we'll get back to some jumping. So I'm going to do this on a red and a blue, which is kind of a medium spring that kind of balances out abs and legs. If you want it to be more intense on the legs, do heavier. If you want it to be even more intense on the abs, go lighter. So my red and blue is kind of a happy medium. So grab the jump board. This is where if you want a little extra cushion for your hands, might be kind of nice. I'm just going to lay my sticky across because my jump board's kind of thin and not the comfiest to grab onto. So you're going to very carefully stand up. Don't let your carriage move. You're going to walk back till your heels are touching the shoulder blocks with your feet flat. Okay, if you're on the shorter side, it's okay if your heels don't fully touch. Now, you're going to lean back and get your hip joint right on top of your heels. So you feel a nice long position through those hamstrings. Your spine is long, and then you want your chest up slightly above your hands. So you feel nice and connected under your lats. Now, just start by taking a couple of bend and stretches of the legs. Nice and easy. So we're kind of dropping into a squat, and then we extend down and up, tracking the knees right over the toes. Feel the abs drawing up and into the spine. End up with your legs long, really stabilize through the shoulders, and then go into more of a traditional elephant stretch. So you're going to press out with your long legs and then flex the hips to return. So you push, really squeeze through the glutes, and then return and bring the feet back under your hips. Good. Now the chest needs to be slightly above the hands so that the shoulders aren't too extended, which makes this a little bit more challenging than the traditional elephant, just of how we've got our setup. So if you can't push the carriage out without moving the shoulders, then it's too heavy. So you have to be able to keep the arms totally still and stable. Yes, so adjust your springs until you can keep the upper body strong, and then push back with the feet. Good. Let's do this a couple more times. So you can push back as far as you're able, keeping the arms strong and leaving your heels heavy onto the carriage. Very good. Last two. And last one. All right, now come in and we're gonna go into a combination of the bent knees and the straight knees. So you're gonna bend into that squat we practiced first, then you extend the knees to move the carriage out. Keep the heels grounded, and then you pike the hips and pull the machine in with your long legs. And then again, you bend, you push, lift your tailbone up and fold the hip on the return. 1, 2, and then lift the tail and return. Good. Couple more, making sure the ribs aren't flaring. Bend and press. So good for our ankle, our knee, our hip mobility and strength. Ooh, you probably feel a nice stretch in the calves too. Good. Let's do this one more time. Good. Keep that slight upward angle through the chest. Now let's reverse it. So we push out with the long legs first, bend the knees, pull the carriage in as you find that deep squat, and then stand. Push. We pull the knees in under us, over the toes, and up. Good. Open the hips, pull from the knees, and then press up. Out, in, and up. So good, you guys. Let's do 2 more rounds. Really being strict on what is moving and what isn't moving, keeping your stability. Very good. All right, now just lean your hips way back, drop your chest through your hands, and get a nice upper body stretch here. Good. For a little deeper stretch, drop your left hand, reach across and grab your right ankle or calf or knee or even the outer edge of the carriage, whatever you can grab, and use your hand to pull your body into a twist and try to look at the ceiling up under that right armpit. And then just breathe here. You can bend your left knee if you want to get an even bigger twist. Whew. Good. And then let's come up and do the other side. So start from your long back, drop the right hand across to the left, rotate and pull. Good. And then just try to take big, deep breaths into wherever you feel stuck or tight. Your right knee can soften to help you rotate more. Very good. All right. Place both hands back up on the jump board and then step off to the side and come on down. All right, you guys, good. Okay, so that felt really nice, hopefully, stretching out those lower legs a little bit. So now you can take your cushion, if you had any, and set it off to the side. And then we're going to go back to jumping. So now we're going to do a much lighter spring tension and make the jumping more about our abdominals. So I'm going to do a single blue spring. If that's too challenging and you can't stabilize your spine, add on a little bit more weight. You could even do like a single red. But just so you know, the lighter it is, the harder it is on our core. So let's come on down onto our backs, just like we did before. Settle in, get a little bit of space between your shoulders and the shoulder rests. Bring your legs fully together, so ankles and knees are connected. Arms are down next to you on the mat. And then for this one, probably an imprint is going to be better for most people to stay more connected to the abdominals. If you can hold neutral, that's fine as well, okay? Just when you jump, the shape of your spine shouldn't change. So keep it the same. We're going to inhale to get ready. And then as we exhale, try this jump and just go very ginger and kind of careful until you feel out the lightness of these springs. And it is really, really light. So it's much less about the legs, and it's much more about this sustained hold, keeping the legs lifted as we're out in space. Good. Ankles tight together. Push into the hands to help you. So good. If you're struggling to stabilize your spine, lift the legs a little higher in the air. Also maybe land a little higher on the jump board, and that should be supportive to you. Let's do 2 more. And last one. Whew. All right, now scooch down away from the shoulder blocks, lift your head up and come into a flexion, holding your head in your hands. If this ever gets to be too much, go back to lying down flat. Okay, now just be careful you're not doing the cheater move of just resting your wrists on the shoulder rests. That is not an ab curl. So you have to crunch up high enough that your arms aren't touching them. Legs are still tight together. Now let's see if we can do a slow and controlled jump in our flexion. So we exhale to jump, inhale to land. Good. So it's just that upper back curling off the mat. The lowest ribs are staying down, just like we practiced earlier. That's it. Chin off the chest. The nice thing here is we can watch what our legs are doing, see where they're landing. Good. Let's do 4 more. It's a little less secure. We don't have the hands pushing to help us. 2. And then last one. Come in and take a rest. Ooh, good. Kind of exciting, right? Totally different than when we had those heavy springs on. All right, now we're going to add a little bit of extra challenge with the legs. So I'm going to continue having my head up in my hands. If you need to rest down, that's totally fine as well. So pick whether you'd like to be up or lying down. Inhale to get ready. Now we're going to do a bend and a stretch, almost like a tuck jump in and out of tabletop. So you jump, bend the knees. The trick is you have to get them back to straight with lots of time before you land. In and out, land. In and out, land. If you don't straighten the knees soon enough, that's when you're going to smack into the bottom of the machine with your carriage. And it's a little jarring. Doesn't sound very nice. So try to avoid that by anticipating and having your legs ready to catch you. Do 2 more, springing on and off the toes, and then go ahead and rest. Whew. Okay, next leg action is going to be a lift and a lower. So the legs will be straight the whole time that they're in the air. So let's give that a try. Curl up, inhale, get ready. Exhale, this one's a little unstable, so take it slow on your first. Curl up. This one's a little bit precarious, so take it easy on your first one. We're going to do our jump, lift the feet to the ceiling, and then back to the jump board. Up and down. Emphasis on getting back down with lots of time. Don't linger up there. As soon as you flex, you're already pulling them back. Up and down. Up and down. So good. Try to keep that same level of flexion in the spine for 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Whew. Amazing. Okay, last thing is we're going to do some leg circles now. So once we jump, we start with the leg lift, just like we did. Then we circle them out and around, land back together. Here we go. Curl up. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, lift the feet up. Quickly open them to sit back to the jump board together. This doesn't have to be a big circle. Mine is not very big. Yes. Again, you want to get your circle over with quickly and have the feet ready with lots of time to land. That's it. So good. Last 3. Last 2. And last 1. And then come in and rest. Whew. Okay, we're going to reverse our circle. Final thing here. This one is a little harder to do quickly, but you really have to get the circle over with fast. So let's give it a try. Here we go. Curl up. Don't let the feet drop too low. Think of circling out and up and land. Out and up. So you don't want to go to some crazy big straddle and get stuck there. So think small and more of an oval. That's it. Jump. Feels so good. Feels like we're flying, right? Up and down. 3 more. And last 2. Last 1. Whew. Amazing. All right, come on up. Nicely done with our light ab jumps. That was so good. All right, we're going to get our feet in the straps next to kind of cool down. So pick what you'd like, maybe a red and a blue, or maybe 2 reds if you want to do a little bit heavier, and then come onto your backs. So lay down, get your feet in, push off the jump board, and then step the feet in one by one. All right, lovely. Once we're here, we're just going to reach the legs out long towards your jump board. Squeeze the legs together in your parallel. Get to a nice neutral spine, and then you're going to breathe in and lift the feet up, and then exhale, lower down. Inhale to float, and then exhale, lower. Good. So jumping, it's a lot of work on the front of our legs, the hip flexors. So this should feel really nice now. The ropes kind of support and take the load off the hip flexors and put it more on the backs of the legs. That's it. So see how high you can lift the feet without removing your sacrum or your tailbone from the mat. That's going to give you that awesome hamstring stretch. All right, and then keep your parallel and do a couple of bend and stretches here. So flex your feet and your knees, and then press away and point through the toes. So you flex and bend, and then point and lengthen. Inhale, exhale. Good. So getting that nice articulation, that full movement from hip to toes. Very good. 2 more. All right, now let's do a little bit of external rotation. So turn out, my heels are together, my toes are apart, and then we're going to do the lift and the lower here with our turned out legs, and then we pull down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, return. Good. So a little bit of different work for those hips. We get into those deep rotator muscles. Get a little extra inner thigh, keeping the heels together. Good. And then reach the legs away and do a couple bend and stretches turned out. So we bend, flexing the feet, and then lengthen, pointing the feet. So kind of in that frog, turned out shape. Inhale, bend. Exhale, reach away. Good. Okay, let's do 2-ish more. Make sure the knees don't come so close that the thighs are crushing you. Last one. Very nice. Now let's go internally rotated. Kind of flex the feet, touch the big toes together, and we're going to draw some circles with the legs internally rotated. So you can make that circle as big as you'd like, as long as you don't lose the rotation at the hip. So it's probably not going to be the biggest circle in the world, but so good for strengthening the sides and those deep rotator muscles. Good, and then reverse. So still staying turned in, but just reverse the circle. Very good. All right, let's do one last circle here. And then bring the legs together, go parallel and low. I'm gonna put my headrest flat, so if yours is up, you do the same. Let's do a couple of short spine preps, and then we'll do the full exercise. The prep emphasizes a little extra hamstring stretch, which is nice. So we're gonna inhale, lift the legs, start to float them to the ceiling. Now exhale, see if you can reach them a little further and get a deeper hammy stretch with your tailbone down. Now just turn out, bend your knees like a frog, pull the heels towards your sitting bones, and then push the legs away and point your toes. Turn to parallel and do that again. Inhale, start to slowly lift, and then as you exhale, see how far those ropes can pull you into a stretch while keeping your neutral pelvis, and then slowly bend. Carriage stays pretty still, bending like a frog, and then you push away. Good, couple more times. Parallel and lift, and then exhale, find that deep hamstring stretch. Turn out, pull the heels through. All right, do that one more time. Inhale, and then exhale, pull, feel that lengthening, and then we bend, knees and hips turn out and reach. All right, you can continue with that, or we're gonna go into the full inversion. So you're gonna lift the legs up as you inhale. Now this time when we exhale, we scoop our abs under and roll up to our shoulder blades. Turn out like a frog here, and then you roll your hips away from your heels, getting that hamstring length at the top, and then you finish by pulling the heels down and forward. Good, so we go parallel and lift, imprint, and use your abs to roll the tail off. Turn out and bend, and then let the hips fall away from your feet. The ankles stay behind, and then once you can't go anymore, the feet follow and reach out. Turn in to lift, scoop and roll over, push the hands into the mat. So good. Feel that articulation from top to bottom through the spine. All right, one more time. Parallel and up, and then scoop off of the mat. Bend, let the spine and legs go first, then the feet to finish. Whew. All right, bend the knees, take your feet out of the straps, roll over and come on up. Whew. All right, we're gonna finish with a little single thigh stretch. So drop down to a red spring, step off to one side, put your nearest foot back against the shoulder block, square off and look straight ahead. Inhale here, and then exhale, get a nice thigh and hip flexor stretch. And then we come back up tall. Good, and then again, exhale, we lower. Inhale up. So good. Couple more times. Keep the ribs and the hips close together here. So the stretch is really for the thigh. So good. We did a lot of work for our quads and our hip flexors, so this should feel so good. All right, now take your hand that's closest to the center of the machine, come up so that you have just a slight stretch on your back thigh. Lift that inner arm up to the ceiling, get even taller, and then take a side bend away from your machine and just feel that oblique open up, your QL muscle, all that get nice and stretched. And then if you'd like, you can sink the carriage back a little bit more as long as those abs can stay connected. Good, take one more breath here. And then control the carriage back in. Very nice. Okay, crawl or walk over to the other side. So foot goes back, new foot to the floor, squeeze the back glute, take your inhale, and then we exhale to lower into the stretch. Inhale up tall. So good. So it's really nice to kind of come back to our breath after a big long workout like that, especially one where we were getting some cardio and breathing a little harder. So try to slow the breath down. Tying it to your movement kind of forces you to take those slower breaths. All right, one last time. Come up about halfway, reach that inner arm up to the ceiling. Try to grow up out of that shoulder and then side bend away from your machine. Good. And then if you need a little extra, push that carriage foot back even more. And then breathe nice and deep. Take one last breath in and out. And then come all the way up tall. And with that, we are done with our first ever jump board workout here at Real Good Pilates. So I hope you loved it, and I can't wait to see you back here for many, many more to come. So I will see you next time. Bye.